Hi, I'm Andy Gritz from QNX Software Systems, and I'm here to demo the HTML5 SDK for QNX CAR. This is a tool that allows developers to create HTML5 apps for the automotive environment, just like they could create them for the mobile environment. It's based on RIM's Ripple tool, which is an emulating environment for the mobiles, and what we've done is adapt it to allow that same emulation environment to work for automotive. So we add the automotive specific things to the tool, and it allows the apps to look at any of the underlying components of the emulated environment that make it look like a car. Let's take a look. The big advantage to the HTML5 SDK being based off of an existing toolkit like Ripple is it allows us to use the same environment for building for different targets. So as an example, you could build your application, target it for BlackBerry 10 or Apache Cordova, which allows you to use all kinds of different devices, but then also use QNX CAR. So just an example, if you were going to do your development, you might end up having it look on a mobile like this, and then you could actually have it for the car environment. Certainly there's a lot of things that are specific to the car environment, and that's actually what we're going to look at next. The way the environment is set up, the emulator has all of the underlying features of the system built in as various different controls that you can access, and the application has access to those controls such that, for example, in this HVAC setting, we can modify that, and you'll see that it modifies the underlying vehicle system, which is being emulated. And the same thing happens if I actually go ahead and change these controls. You'll see that because the HMI is hooked up properly to the underlying vehicle systems, you end up seeing those things reflected in the actual HMI. So this gives you the ability to look at all of the underlying things being emulated by the environment to mimic a car, and things like geolocation, so the position of the vehicle, or things like the actual mixer or any of the underlying services for audio playback, things like sensor data for the fuel levels of the system, or the access to vehicle sensor data. All of those things are provided by the emulation environment so that the app builder has a very clear and consistent way to access any of those features from the car in the emulator, so that when those applications are brought to the car, then they have the same environment. The other great thing about this environment is that it has access to Web Inspector, so that it does allow you to get access to a whole raft of various different features about the development environment. You can change the code on the fly, you can set breakpoints, you can do single-step debugging, you can look at all of the source code that's being used, take a look at various different things, you can change things, you can do profiling. Basically a full-fledged environment for accessing the vehicle emulation as it's running within the HTML5 environment, and control it and do all the debugging that you need to do. So the flash there is because it's actually highlighting different elements in the HMI, so you can go in directly determine which pieces of which HMI elements you're actually looking at from the inspector. So the other aspect about this environment is once you get your application into the hands of a car maker, then you also have the ability to do remote debugging. So one of the capabilities that QNX provides in our QNX CAR application framework is the ability to do remote debugging with Web Inspector on the target, so on the specific hardware used by the auto manufacturer or on an evaluation board, and do that debugging directly with your comfortable environment that you've been actually using in the browser. It's a great tool to be able to use. It's something that's actually built into the playbooks in the BB10 phone, and we've also built it into the QNX CAR environment. So hopefully this gave you a little taste of what it's like to use the HTML5 SDK, and we're really looking forward at QNX to seeing all the applications that developers can bring into the automotive environment, and hopefully we'll give you guys a chance to get your apps in front of the car makers. Thank you very much for watching.